Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul, right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and all the way from Lebanon is Nada Lyon. We're going to be talking about how to ignite your heart and soul today. She is a feminine coach and guide for all things spiritual and relationship focus. She knows what it's like to lose a child in the womb, and only when she embraced her divine womb did she carry a child into life. She's passionate about helping people rise from their inner, most powerful mastery. She's the founder of New Earth Masters, an online New Earth Masters where she is a healer, coach, therapist, international speaker, and a published author. She's also the creator of the I'm having a hard time here today. The Divine Unique Academy, helping people have a deeper love and soulful intimacy. She lives in Lebanon with her husband and 16-year-old son. And we're going to dive right into what is this academy? How can we ignite our heart and soul? You've heard me speak before, folks, how important it is to connect to our soul wisdom, to ignite our heart in truth, to get into our spirit of action, for our mind to have the clarity it needs when it needs it. But how do we get there, Nada? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah.
My
And thank you
pleasure.
for this beautiful introduction.
You're so welcome. I heard you speak on the 262, Women's International Day talk, and that's a really important platform because it's speaking to women from women, the journey that's been shared. Nobody gets into the decades without some rough spots, some redirects, sometimes some completely, as I call the cosmic 2x4s, bottoming out. But it's from that we discover who we really are. The courage, the resilience, the abilities. And that is really where the illumination comes from, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can completely resonate with that. I've had a lot of you can call them deep dives.
Hmm.
Had a
Hmm.
lot of things in my life crash before I had to wake up and realize and get on my path. And when I was 14 years old was probably the biggest one. I was sand duning in the desert. I used to live in Dubai. I
Hmm.
was sand duning in the desert with some friends, and we got into a car accident. And when we got into a car accident, a couple of minutes later, everything happened so slowly. Like the car accident, the way it was moving and how it was swirling and turning, everything happened so slowly. But a few minutes later, I found myself hovering in the air.
Hmm.
And I couldn't understand what I was feeling, what I was thinking. Everything was very silent. I looked down and I saw my body. And I didn't understand again, like, why is my body on the floor and why am I here? And it took me a while to process that actually, because of the accident, I had left my body. So I had like a couple of minutes, like a near death experience. And then I started seeing everybody run to my body and, crying. Everybody thought I was dead. And even though they were all in this real chaotic moment, where I was very silent and
Hmm.
it was very peaceful and
Hmm.
it was very blissful. And I understood a lot of things about the true essence of who we are as a species. Now, after I saw them carry my body and put it in the car because they had to take me to the hospital, I made a choice. I was like, oh, I have to go back now. And then I woke up in my body. Now, this happened, gosh, a very long time ago. So I was 14 and I'm 42 today. So I don't know, let's do the math. And back then, yeah, and back then there was
32 years.
no
Like,
32 years. That's
since I was
fast.
28 years, yeah, I'm terrible at math myself. So.
Now, back then there was no Google, there was no Yahoo, there was no
Mhm.
internet at all. So I couldn't really search I kept asking around, like, guys, I left my body. I saw things. And people kept telling me, like, oh, you hit your head. That's why you're imagining all of
Mm.
this. So I just, forgot about everything I saw, forgot about everything I experienced in that moment. But something woke up that day. Something stayed with me. Like in my mind, I decided to drop it, but within my soul, something was alive. And
The
that's
seed was
really where my
planted,
journey started.
right? The seed was
Absolutely.
planted. Yes, yes. I love it when it happens like that. But yes, yes, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just sharing how everything started for me.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I just started to realize that life is really beautiful.
Hmm.
Like life is very, very, very magical. And even though sometimes we experience turmoil or chaos or pain or something that doesn't feel good, the only reason we want to avoid it or we want to run away from it or we want it to end is because we've been taught that
Yes.
negative feelings are bad,
Yeah.
right? But it's kind of like childbirth. Like while a woman's giving birth, she's there sweating,
Yes.
screaming, yelling, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
pushing, like pushing and like thinking that this moment's never gonna end. Then the baby's born, and then it's a love that she has in her life forever.
Exactly. What pain. The baby's in my arms. You forget everything in an instant, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
That's
so,
divine in itself, isn't it? You know,
yes,
I
exactly.
mean, that is a prime example of the pain that we go through. Obviously going through pregnancy, you've got morning sickness, and then you've got backache, and then your feet are swelling, and all of that stuff. And then through the labor is all the excruciating pain that we go through that's very condensed in a short period of time. But the moment that baby is in your arms, you've forgotten it altogether because it's a new birth, not just of the child, but as you as a woman and your role as what it's
Absolutely.
going to be. So you are now the mother, that child's in your arms, and your life is going to be completely different. And although you might be mentally, yes, it's going to be different once I have a baby, until that child's in your arms, it doesn't really hit you, does it?
Is a complete initiation into a
Mm,
different version of who we are as women. And that's everything in life. Like
yeah.
everything, every moment is an initiation. Some initiations are tough, some initiations are ecstatic,
Hmm.
and some initiations are silent.
Yeah.
But every moment in life is an invitation, an opportunity for us to choose ourselves,
Hmm.
to choose the highest alignment for our well-being, and to choose to embrace our divinity.
A lot of people have had that near death, and I think that is, is that cosmic 2x4, but you had it at 14, and many things happened to us in our youth that I say plant the seeds. The seeds aren't ready to grow yet. They're there, they're waiting, they're dormant until something else happens in your life and the seed goes, I'm awake now, right? And we don't pay attention to it. And as you said, there's no, Google, what's this all about? Even if you went to the library, there would be a few books about it, but there was also a lot of taboo about it, right?
Absolutely.
Now, I grew up a spiritual being, finding it very hard to live a human life because I didn't understand humanity and how cruel they were to each other. And why didn't other people see other entities around them, right? So it's just not talked about. But today, not only has the volume been turned up, but the spotlight is on it. And now it is really about that awakening, not just for the individual, but for us as a collective on this planet, that we really need to wake up and rise up in harmony and
Isn't it
love.
so beautiful?
Yes.
It's remarkable. Like I remember when I first started talking to angels, and I would, share with my mom, my aunt, and they'd be like, "Shh,
Hmm. Yeah.
don't say anything."
The white
And
coats are going to come and get
today,
you.
let's send you to get rebaptized in church in case you're not holy. And then today, it's like everyone's talking to angels.
I know.
The collective is so
Yes.
different.
Yes. We've been touched. And I think that that awakening was there where people started kind of coming alive. You could almost see them humanoids walking along and suddenly they're plugged in, and
Yeah,
and they have a
yeah,
sensation they don't understand. And I've been nearly doing this 12 years, and in the last 12 years, just seeing how many more people are awakening, how many more people are stepping up into that divine presence, and also not only giving themselves permission, but also allowing themselves to have the experience.
absolutely. Like there's a difference between knowing and actually living,
Yes.
embodying that space. And
Mm,
it's absolutely like it's such an honor to witness
mm,
the evolution of consciousness within ourselves and within the people around us. Like when I witness my friends, my clients, my son, or whoever around me embracing more and more their authority, their self-worth, their self-love, and accepting
yeah.
their perfection, accepting their divine creation and the divine design of their life, there is something that is very something that's very magnificent in
Mm,
witnessing.
yeah. It's almost a deep breath. It's like, ah, another one.
It's as if, yeah, it's as if there's a part of me that remembers it. It's as if there's
Mm,
a part of me that remembers, oh, wait, we've done this before.
yes,
We've done this, all of us together before. This is just a different version of us doing it again.
right. Yes, I was actually I was on the ferry last night coming home after looking after babies for the weekend and little babies' birthday parties, which is wonderful. But I'm always got a story going on in my head. And one of the stories was somebody that's going to come is about to leave life and knows they're going to come back, but trying to negotiate, how can I keep all these memories? The memories of every lifetime. Can I keep these memories so in the next lifetime I can be more progressive instead of constantly in self-discovery and having cosmic two by fours? Because I mean, those memories become part of our cellular in a new life, right? But we really have to be in discovery of those memories as well and what they mean. So it's like, I think the universe is wanting to open us up more and take us up to higher dimensional levels, more understanding. But we do have to surrender to that. And we also have to step out of human dictation or conditioning. I will if, and you've got to do it this way, right? If we can surrender to allow, what is
I
it
love
I
that
need to
you're
know?
saying that. I absolutely love that you're saying that. You know, the other day just yesterday actually, I was talking to a client of mine and we were working on her abundance. And she was in that conditioning, like, if I get the money, I'm gonna help charity and and it's great. But I
Mm,
did notice that limitation there, that there is a sacrifice. Like, if you will help me, God, I will
yes,
do good things.
yes,
Like even that is a conditioning, right?
yes.
I mean, there are things in the universe when we surrender to, we start
Mm,
to witness the magic that our brain cannot fathom is even possible. And
yes,
when we put all the conditioning and we start to limit of how it should happen, when it should happen, and if we like what it's gonna look like when it's gonna happen, we're not gonna really like what we're gonna receive because we've kind of tainted it with all our own
yes.
limitations.
But with the human expectation and not the divine truth. Right? Because the human
Absolutely.
expectation is always wanting, we want comfort. We want to know we're secure. We want to know we can explore and this and that. But if you're just living from the human aspect, you're limited in your thinking, in your actions. When you allow the divine to merge with you, then you're unlimited as to what you can do. But we many people are still very much in that human, thing. And it's like, no, it's a trust the divine for the human to grow, not the other way round, right? Because that's
Yeah.
the soul wisdom needs to teach the heart how to truly feel and see the truth.
Absolutely. I'd like to share what's coming through is, I used to be a person that used to negotiate a lot with the universe. I'll be
Hmm.
very honest with you. I did not have this level of surrender that I have today. And it's linked to faith. It's
Hmm.
linked to really trusting
Hmm.
from the depth of your being, every single cell of your body that you're held,
Yes.
right? And I've had such a traumatic childhood that it took me time to let go and be able to trust the universe.
Yes.
I went to Mahavatar Babaji's cave in India once. I'm not sure if you know who Mahavatar Babaji
No, I
is.
don't actually.
He's an Indian guru, but he's etheric. He's not physical. So he's like a spirit guide.
Yes.
And he has a cave in India. And a lot of the Essene family were they assumed that they learned through him. Like when Jesus went to India, that he learned through Mahavatar Babaji. Anyway, I went to Mahavatar Babaji's cave and I meditated there for 3 months. I wanted to unlock whatever was holding me back
Mm,
from me embracing my fullest.
mhm.
And when he showed up, it was really magical. And he showed me a simple meditation to do every single day that really helped me, day in, day out. Because what we need to do is we need to train ourselves
Yes.
to let go. And every day we let go a tiny bit more. And then our faith is fully anchored
Yeah.
because we can't jump from control to faith,
Mm,
or from lack of trust to faith, or from like I was like learning to do life all by yourself, like
mhm.
it was me, myself, and I, to all of a sudden just let go and surrender.
Yeah.
And I'd like to share with the listeners this simple meditation. It's very simple. Simply sit down in meditation, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. But the meditation was this: literally connect to your brain and say, you are valuable.
Mm,
And then connect to your body and say, you are safe. And then connect to your heart and say, I trust you, because God's in your heart.
mhm.
And when you tell your mind that you're valuable, it no longer needs to be loud,
Yes.
because the loud mind is because it gets louder when you don't listen to it. So when you
Yeah.
tell your mind you're valuable, it's going to be like, all right, I'm recognized. I can chill now. And
Mm,
then when you tell your body you're safe,
mhm,
then your soul can anchor and you can
yes.
become embodied.
Mhm.
Because the biggest pandemic on the planet isn't a virus, it's
No.
the numbness of
Yes.
humanity.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when
The
we tell our
disconnect.
body
Mhm.
the disconnect, exactly. So when we tell our bodies we're safe, then our soul can come forward. And then you tell the heart, I trust you. Day in, day out. I think I did this for a couple of weeks until one day I woke up and I didn't feel the need to do it anymore. And I was just on a different frequency
Mhm.
where faith became my nature.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I kind of refer to them sometimes as balls in the air because the universe gives me messages. It gives me visions and it shows
Hmm.
me, and then I create a graphic of that vision. And I have no idea. This is one thing I've learned about the universe is, the human side of me. Well, I see it now. Let's get it done. And the universe says, no, I am showing it to you. This is what you're working towards. It will be
Yes.
done when it will be done, with whom it's meant to be done with. And so along that journey, you're looking, are you the person? Are you the person that you're meant to do it with? And then all of a sudden you get that message, okay, it's time. But where are the people? Right? But that ball stays up in the air and you wait. You've put it out. They've put it out. It's time. Okay, I'm open and ready to receive. And in case in point, with a book I've just put out called Our Forgotten Children, it was a 5-year project of a vision that I needed to do, which came from podcasting, of interviewing people around children and how desperately we need to change the system and how we need to support our divine children in the essence of who they are and not change them into the condition of a human fault, where dysfunctional and disconnected. And it was like, but who are the people? And I went back to all the people I'd interviewed, and only 2 could do it because others had moved on, etc. And I thought, okay, all right, you've told me I'm going to do this book. Bring me the people. And all of a sudden, I'm interviewing people on different subjects to find out the children advocates or teachers or this or that. And I found all my people for the book, right? And it's just, we have to open up our sphere. It's the same with a home. I was going to move closer to my daughter to help look after her babies. I can't afford a home. I'm a pensioner. Believe me, the pension doesn't cover much these days. And it's like a home is going to be given to you. And okay, all right, I surrendered. That ball's up in the air. And this last weekend, we just signed a deal on a home for me to move to. Right. So,
That's beautiful.
it, and
Congratulations.
thank you. Yes. Oh, sanctuary. First time living on my own for 43 years. Yes. Ah. The whole thing is the universe gives you visions of things that are to come. And a human side of us wants to, okay, let's go and do it. I can make it happen. Da, 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 da. No, it is keep the vision in mind, right? And then have all of your antennas open. And you will come across the people that are a part of the equation, part of the orchestra. You can't have an orchestra without the musicians. But those musicians are on a journey of their own. They're perfecting their music, their skill, their art. And you need the right musicians in the orchestra in order for it to harmoniously play and create a symphony that resonates out. But once you've got that vision, it is just keep walking to it, keep walking towards it. And the people you'll gather along the way until it's ready to put that piece together and create that that symphony. And it's trust, isn't it? The human side of us wants to rush and wants to kind of dictate. But when we let it go and let it be, it is.
Absolutely. I love the way that you described your analogy of orchestra and music and, the perfect notes that go together.
Mm-hmm.
When I was understanding this a bit deeper on how everything is in divine timing and
Mm-hmm.
everything is in divine design, there are no exceptions. There is no buts, ifs, or maybes. There
Yeah.
is no accidents. There
No,
are no, like, everything is
no such thing
perfectly
as coincidence, right?
at all. Like everything is perfectly orchestrated.
Yes.
And when the universe was showing me how to dance in this
Mm.
perfect orchestration with trust,
Yes.
it was the universe speaks to me in nature, like most
Mm-hmm.
of us do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she showed me this beautiful garden. And this garden had flowers, there were trees, there were butterflies, there were bees, there was, the sun. And I zoomed into each element. And when I became the flower, it's like the flower doesn't blossom thinking, oh my God, is the sun gonna come out tomorrow? Am I gonna be warm enough to get my petals open? Oh my God, is it gonna rain in winter so I can get the water? Oh my God, are the bees gonna come to take my pollen? The flower is so chill and just is a
Yes.
flower. It just
Yes.
it just does its part in nature.
Yeah.
And like the bee doesn't fly around in the garden thinking, oh my God, am I gonna find pollen today? Oh my God, it like nature is one ecosystem that
Mm-hmm.
is designed to
Work
uh,
together.
thrive, to thrive, to
Yes.
sustain itself, and to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm-hmm.
all works together. And
Yes.
all we really need to do as humans, like all we really need to do is become our authentic self
Yes.
so we can sing our own harmony in that divine design. And not because what we do is we always want to be somebody else.
Yeah.
We always want to be who we were told we should be, or what
Mm-hmm.
society will accept from us,
Yes.
or what is validated through people. But that's when we're kind of like, if an orchestra's playing and somebody's like off tune with their instrument.
Or going to do a solo suddenly.
Yeah, like out of nowhere, right? It's a
Yeah.
classical song, and then somebody comes with an electric guitar. Like like what we want to do is just be ourselves
Yeah.
and then welcome our authenticity, because it's through our
Yes.
authenticity that we can start trusting more and embracing that divine design.
Yes. And I know you know this because I heard you talk on the 262 summit. You lost the child and you had a very hard time trying to find, trying to get pregnant. And here you now have a 16-year-old son, right? And it's like, I had an ectopic pregnancy and I was told that my womb was damaged. They removed ovary and tube and that I would never have another, likelihood of being a parent was never be. And I knew I was born to be a parent. That was it. So I had, after that, 4 pregnancies and 3 children, and 3 of those children were ordered. Okay, God, ready. It's time to make a baby. And I even ordered the sex. Right? So, and it was time, and I had beautiful, healthy children. Right. But, it's like we're constantly told by the human limits, no, that won't happen. That can't
All
happen.
the time.
Right. But the
All the
divine
time.
has a different, you're here for a different reason. I will give you what I know you need to do the job that you're here to do. Right? Because we're all here to contribute and all here to have a purpose.
Absolutely.
And the divine only
Absolutely.
gives us everything, even the hard times are for us to understand maybe our own strengths and abilities, but also to have empathy for others that are going through things.
Yeah, and I truly got to a place now where honestly, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I don't think there are hard times. They're just times.
I
Like,
think
they're not even
suffering is a
hard.
choice, I think. I mean, we struggled. Yes, we struggled sometimes to kind of understand. And when you let go of that, okay, I'm struggling. Okay, let go of the struggle. Just go with the flow. I know it's uncomfortable. Giving birth is uncomfortable, but you've got a baby at the end of it, right? Just give birth to yourself. You're in pain right now. Give birth to yourself, but don't choose suffering.
Yeah, it's like don't get attached to the emotion.
Yes,
Just like
yes,
let the emotions flow. They're gonna feel ugly, they're gonna feel
yes,
bad, they're gonna feel unpleasant.
yeah.
But
Spend them.
that's how, what is it? But that's
Spend
how
them.
we, yeah, use them up. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, it become your natural state. Like you can be in a place where you watch your whole life falling apart and you're like, all right, I know this is a rebirth. Instead, like, oh
Yes.
my God, this is all,
Yeah.
because you live in that awareness that everything's actually happening for you.
Yes.
Nothing here to
Out to
attack you.
get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That again is a human nature, and I say this all the time. We can be the absolute scum on the earth, or we can be the absolute blessing. And it's again choice in life. And when we see people who have been hurt, then hurt others, and it's purely patterning that they haven't registered they're in that pattern, or they haven't been willing to do the work to release that pattern. And so for them to be able, for us to talk to divine permission, surrender, and all of that, it's like, what the hell are you talking about? We have to get to that patterning first, that programming that they're on. That's probably not only past life, but ancestral, and certainly in the family DNA and their upbringing. And it's like recognizing, like you do on a computer, I've got a virus, or I've got too many programs here. I need to clean it up. Or this is obsolete. I need an updated one. But we don't recognize ourselves that way, that we need to constantly be fine tuning ourselves. Is this emotion just hanging on for the sake of it because it likes the party? Or can I release this emotion now? Because it no longer serves me. But how do we
Yeah.
get people to that place, though? That's the thing. I mean, we can't help anyone unless it's that free will. Only when people say, I need the help, can you help them?
Yeah.
But
And
inspiration does
also,
beget invitation, though, and they're
yeah, and
inspired by you.
also I also, like, I began to understand that and not everyone's supposed to wake up, right?
Not
Because
in this
the reason,
lifetime. Yeah.
not in this lifetime, like the reason why we're awake and the
Mhm.
reason why we can, maneuver our journey and process all our emotions and go through the ups and downs and come out stronger and share our fruits with others is because we've done a lot of work in other
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
So much work to prepare us for this one. So there's a lot of people still purging the
Mm.
karma they have from other lives.
Mm.
There are people that are more prepared because they've already purged in other lives. And all these other lives are intertwined. I went through a really long healing journey. Like, remember when I told you I had that near-death experience and then
Yes.
I completely forgot about it? And then you said something that reminded me of actually what catalyzed it again.
Mm.
It went dormant for a long time, and then something catalyzed it again. And I was crossing the street, and I was on my phone. I was being like a teenager,
Yes.
completely like, disconnected from my external world. And I heard a voice scream at me, Nada, stop. So I turned around to see who it was, and I saw a huge truck pass right in front of me.
Right.
Now, the truck was literally millimeters
Yeah.
away. And when I turned around, there was nobody there, but the voice came from
Mm.
behind me.
Yes.
I now know that it was Archangel Gabriel because that is when I started getting visitations by
Mm.
Archangel Gabriel. And he was, it's not he or she, she started sharing with me a lot of things. But I had already started my healing journey. I had done a lot of subconscious work, a lot of Reiki, a lot of, a sound healing, breath work. Like, I think I have like 75 certifications, right? He shared with me something really beautiful that really got me into like a quantum jump into my embodiment that can answer your question.
Mhm.
He told me that there are two ways to heal. Number one is imagine you have two buckets,
Mhm.
and these buckets have mud in them. And that mud is our limitations, our social conditioning, the traumas we experience from this life, past life, all walks of life, our lineage, all of that. That's what the mud represents. So we have two buckets. You can either get a shovel and constantly remove the mud from one bucket, wait for it to be clear. You're going to get more wipes and make sure that it's completely clear before you add the fresh water. Or you can just constantly dump so much cold, fresh water on it that the mud's going to come out by itself
Yeah.
and the bucket's going to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I kind of shifted how I treated my healing journey, because before I was determined to heal everything. I
Mm-hmm.
come from a very traumatic childhood in this life.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so self-aware of my thoughts and my emotions, and anything that was limited, I would book a healing session for myself with myself. Like, all right, Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna heal this. Saturday, I'm gonna heal this. And I was in this like healing loop. Like I needed to heal everything. And I wasn't really embracing my embodiment. And I wasn't really embracing, I don't know what really happened here. I yeah, I wasn't really embracing my embodiment, and I
I
wasn't
can't see you
really,
at all, love. I can just see an image of you. Your lighting is
I think
completely gone.
let me see if it comes back. Yeah, sometimes that happens here where the light goes out, but it
Oh,
will come back.
okay. All right.
You want us to
No,
pause
no,
for
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Maybe it's apropos for what you're saying right now.
it's part of the orchestra.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
the
so
embodiment.
yeah, so because I was so focused on healing on the time, I was missing out on witnessing the
Mm,
divine design of life and being part of it. So instead, what I started doing is I started to embrace my light every day. I started to
mm,
activate my DNA. I started to awaken my multidimensionality. So instead of healing and like removing things, I started to add practices that were elevating,
mm-hmm.
practices that ignited me and connected me with my soul deeper. What
Yes.
started to happen is those limitations started to fade away.
Mm-hmm.
All the limitations and the constructs. I mean, stuff still surfaces still today, but it's very smooth. It just dissolves, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm in this state of like building as opposed to constantly clearing. And I
Yes.
feel like for people that are on their journey, we can get caught up with the healing cycle. I think the most important thing with healing is to remember that we are all divine beings. Like we
Mm-hmm.
are all, our blueprint is
Mm-hmm.
perfection. Our blueprint is divinity itself. We are like aura theme consciousness. We are angels. And we want to hold on to that light. So when
Yes.
we hold on to that light, it's much easier for limitations to just brush off by themselves, as opposed to holding on to the limitation, waiting to get rid of it. So
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yes, I mean, I like the analogy of you pour the water, even if the mud is solid and dried up, just keep pouring water in it and it will soften up. And then as the water goes in, the soil comes out. And that's it. Keep pouring love into yourself. Whether you believe it or not, just keep pouring love into yourself. I'm worthy, I'm lovable, I love me. And, just keep saying it and saying it and saying it until that bucket is full of that love. People say, oh, the glass is half empty. No, it's half filled with whatever water, the other half is filled with air. Nothing is empty. But what we do need to do is allow space for our heart to expand, allow space for the energy, the divine energy to run through us. And if we're in fear or if we're in pain or if we're in doubt, we crunch and we block that
Yeah.
chi and that energy from breathing and flowing through us because everything is about fluidity, our
Or if we're
bloodstream,
in the
everything.
story. Yeah,
Yes.
or
Yes.
if we're in the story, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
We want to live our lives like we're observing
Mm-hmm.
our creation.
Mm-hmm.
Like we designed everything. This is a simulation. We are in God's dream.
Yes.
This is reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're caught up in the story, we get caught up in the fear and the judgment,
Yes.
and we become the character, right?
Yes,
But
exactly.
if we take
You
a
know,
step back, yeah, if we
mhm.
just take a step back
Yeah.
and observe our reality,
Yeah.
then it will be much easier to remember that we are love and we are light
Yeah.
and we are divinity itself.
I mean, I used to be able to say this poem all the way through, but Shakespeare's,
Mm.
we all have a role to play, we all have a part in this world, right? And that's true, I believe it. And I think that is when you find out what your gift is and how you're meant to use that gift. You know, that instrument, learn how to play it. You can play it on your own, but of course with the symphony, with an orchestra, you can play it more divinely. But it's discovery of that gift. And we can see it in our children. We see these
Mm,
aptitudes of things they're doing. And, you know, going back to that, but one of the reasons for it is that we then send them to school and we conform them and we restrict them and we restrain them. And then we wonder why they grow up to be adults that are disconnected from everything and that are living up to some sort of illusional um, dictation that isn't serving humanity at all. So, what if we nurtured the heart and the soul of the spirit? Why if we encourage the journey and the wonderment? And what if we open ourselves up at the same time? I look at fear in different ways. I've been fearful. And, you know, doing everything is always has a reputation of a little fear because you don't know what's behind the iron curtain, right? But there's the common sense fear, like the one that shouted out, you stop, you know, pay
hmm.
attention. You don't want to walk in front of that truck. Squish. No, that's what would happen, right? Don't put your hand in the fire. You'll get burned. Common sense fear that looks out for us. But instead of having the fear of the unknown, oh, sorry, the stupid hand always does that. The fear of the unknown, that fear of the unknown stops people from moving forward. What if we
Mm,
look at it in a different way of let us step into wonderment?
I
Wonderment.
love that.
Right. I wonder what is today. I wonder if I did this, what would happen? I wonder who I'd meet. I wonder what I'll become. I wonder what I'll learn. Take common sense fear with you, or actually put it ahead of you of, yeah, yeah, no, this road's good. No, that one leads to a cliff. You know, so let's take this road. Common sense fear will always look after you if you're in tune to it. But don't let fear of the unknown stop you from moving forward. Would we be anywhere as human beings if we lived constantly in fear? Would we be where we are today? And one would say some very dysfunctionalness, but look at how incredible we are as human beings, how creative, how wondrous, how exuberant we are when we decide to choose that path of wonderment and we travel with heart, in divine spirit, with the wisdom of the universe and an open mind to learn.
I love that. I resonate with every word that you're saying. You know, it is kind of crazy how we all, as a collective,
Mm.
decided that the unknown is scary. Instead of what if the unknown was exciting? What if the unknown was a miracle? What if the unknown was actually fun? Like, why have we all decided on a collective level that the
Yeah.
unknown is scary? Right? It's so important to come out of that. I
Yes.
want to share an analogy that's coming to
Mm-hmm.
me as we're speaking. Imagine a blind person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you give this blind person a seed, an orange tree seed, and you put it in their hand. And this blind person is going to hold this tiny seed, and then you're going to tell him, listen, if you water this every day, you're going to get this huge tree that's going to give you oranges for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And every orange is going to have 10 seeds just like this one that are going to give you 10 other trees. So you're going to have an infinite ripple
Mm-hmm.
effect of orange trees forever. Now, if somebody's never seen a tree because they're blind, their mind cannot process how this tiny seed is going to
Yes.
create this wonderment, this
Mm-hmm.
exciting ripple effect of majestic abundance,
Mm-hmm.
right? That thrives. So, what I'm trying to say here is the miracles are happening in front of our eyes all the time,
Every
but we just
second.
got used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got
Mm-hmm.
used to it. Like there's a tree there, there's a tree there. And for us, it's normal. So we
Yeah.
don't live in that wonderment, that amazement that we are literally walking, breathing
Mm-hmm.
miracles.
We are.
So
Mm-hmm.
we are. And then we want to get out of that, like the unknown. Like it's scarier to stay in the comfort zone than to discover the unknown because the unknown is exciting. The unknown is like when you meet somebody and you love them. Like remember when you first meet the lover of your life, like the excitement,
The
the
flutter,
the
flutter.
thrill, the flutter, right? Like that's unknown, but it's such a beautiful unknown that
Yeah.
can lead to so many beautiful
Yeah.
things in your
Yeah.
life.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. And you know, like you pick up a book to read and it's unknown. right? You watch
Yeah,
a TV show or a movie, it's unknown. You kind of got a gist of what it's about, but it's unknown how the story is going to unravel. Why are we holding on to our own story? I say that be your blank canvas. Let the divine take your hand with the paintbrush
love
and
that.
paint what is to be, what you are, what is, not what you are. I feel that dictation of it's got to be. No, it will be what it's meant to be. Let's get rid of this gotta be. Right?
Mm.
Going back to this house that my kids just bought me, when we were looking around, we spent a day looking around. We looked at one thing after the other, and everything got worse to worse to worse. And I had a vision of what I wanted, right? And we couldn't find it. Then we found it. They put an offer in, and the offer got beaten out by somebody. Then we looked at something else, which was okay. It was partially kind of what I envisioned, and that would be great. And then they called back and said the offer fell through, and their offer, if they still wanted to, was valid. And here we are, right? So I think
Mm.
you can have a vision of what you want, but when you're painting your canvas, this is something I say to people, it's not what you see, it's what you feel that transforms into what you see. I want to feel safe in my
Mm.
sanctuary. I want to be able to do this and do that, etc. This is what I want to feel. Universe understands feeling. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
understand orders.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And actually, maybe if we give the universe orders, the universe might, twist things around so we learn how to humble ourselves.
Exactly.
And I realize that there is only one flow, which is the only truth, which is God's design.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, that's really beautiful what happened with your offer. It's like you had all these emotions, like, and you're in complete surrender. And when we're in
Yes,
complete surrender, it's like we get excited because we don't know what's going to happen, but then things always work out.
exactly. And that's the thing is that, if you paint how you want to feel. This is why whenever they give me an image, I put a graphic because that graphic becomes that visual. Um,
Mm,
and it's that how do I feel when I look at that visual? Right? Because
mm.
everything for me is feeling. The only way I can understand my thoughts is if I feel them. If I think them, I go down the rabbit hole. Or you're on a perpetual treadmill. What if, what if, what if? Instead of allowing and go, what if?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I wanted to touch base about something that you said in passing, but I think it's a very important topic, which is raising conscious children.
Mm,
Like it
mhm.
is probably the most important thing that we
Yes,
can all do right now, whether these are our children, our nieces, our nephews, our
yes.
grandkids, the neighbors' kids, any child that's come our way, like anchor that frequency of love, of acceptance, of recognition. Children are the ones that are going to open the gateway to the ascension anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're doing it already. And, I'm going to put in there differently abled children. We have more
Mm.
autism, we have more other labels out there. And I love the word flawsome. We all have flaws that make us unique, but we could be awesome even in our flaws,
But
right?
when you think about it, like when I read about autism and I read about AD, especially ADHD,
Hmm.
it's like
Which
I
I
think
have
I had
ADA kids and OCD kids. And
I think
I'm
I think everybody has
yes,
them,
some
right?
way, in some level, right? Yes, yes. It's
I
how
feel
we
like
learn.
yeah, but I feel like these children, like I know a lot of people that have autistic children, and it's challenging for them. But I feel like these children are very gifted. Like they are
Incredibly.
so gifted, and I feel like what's happening is that their soul is so bright that their nervous system needs to catch up, right? Because it's through our nervous system that we interpret our feelings into the world and then the world back into our
Yeah,
soul blueprint to like archive our experiences, right? And they're such high vibrational souls. So
amazing.
I feel like going into conscious pregnancy, going into
Mm,
conscious family creation, going into conscious conceivement, going into conscious motherhood and parent and fatherhood and just the whole role of being a guardian to a child, I feel like now is more important than ever because the way the world is done is created. On one end, we have, a lot of people that want to keep these children shut down. So there's a lot
mhm.
of pills, there's a lot of
Yes. Yes.
things that I don't resonate with. But at the same time, because we're aware of what's happening, it's important that we bring that light and teach these children that there's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
Like so they're not isolated and they're not singled out, or that they've shamed themselves just from the start.
Mm.
Oh my God, I have a problem. No, you don't have a problem. You have a gift.
Well, I don't think the children register they have a problem until the adults tell them they have a problem,
Exactly.
right? I have a grandson that has Down syndrome. And he is the most delightful, gorgeous little boy. Now he's behind on the growth and he's behind on other things. He's had a number of little health issues, but he's one of these children. He cries when there's something to cry about. Then he stops and he's
Mhm.
all smiles. At the present moment, he's discovering all these different facial expressions and he goes through all of them. And then once he's done them, he's got a big smile. Look what I can do. He's pure heart. And he has this little 3-year-old brother that adores him. And when they look at each other with such love, oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And his brother doesn't
Mhm.
look at him and say, well, you are differently abled. It's just, we know that little Louis is going to have some challenges that aren't going to be as easy as his brother, but he's still this beautiful light and soul. And he's a gift, absolute gift. I've interviewed parents of autism children and people with autism. And I think this is something we can learn from them. Not only are they incredibly gifted, generally artistically or in some way, they're very focused on their gift. This is why they
Mm,
can make that gift really excel because they put their energy into that gift. They're very
mm,
selective of the energies they have around them. So they only have a few chosen people around them that are within their energy orchestra, right? They don't want
mhm.
anybody coming along with the electric guitar. They like the harmony, right? And they are very intolerant of any negatives around them and they want to remove themselves from it. Isn't this something that we should be looking at? Are we pouring ourselves
Absolutely.
into our gift? Are we being selective? Or are we chasing the likes and the popularity instead of
Yeah,
the selective few?
they're absolute teachers. And even
Yes.
when you were speaking about him, your eyes lit up, your
Mm,
heart opened up, and my body reacted because of how your body was reacting. So like these amazing gifts that we have on the planet, these children, they are holding the frequency of
yes.
love. They're
Ah,
holding the frequency of
absolutely.
innocence. They're
Yes.
holding that frequency of, like pure divine perfection. And they're like pillars holding that for the
Mm.
rest of us
To
to
learn
start
from. To
to
learn
learn
from.
from and um, to start embracing those emotions as well.
Yeah. I mean, where I'm moving to, I'm 10 minutes away from them. So, of course, they're going to be in my life a great deal. And a couple of days a week, I'm going to be
Mm,
looking after them. And it's every time I see them, just doesn't matter how I feel,
mm,
immediately the heart opens up. And I think that's the beauty. I mean, when I told me that I couldn't have children because I had a damaged womb and no ovary, a tube on one side, and I went, no, I'm born to be a mother. That's
mm.
that for me. Motherhood is really important. And as it, I ordered my children. My ex-husband didn't believe that I, could. And then I'm pregnant. Yeah, what? How did that happen? If I have to tell you that.
Well,
But
if there's one thing I learned, honestly, in life is that like God works with miracles. Like
mhm,
miracles are happening all the time. So
mhm,
there's no such thing as I can't and I
uh,
can. Like there's so many people I know that were like on wheelchairs and walked again.
yes,
People that were deaf and started to hear.
yeah,
People like yourself, the doctors told you you can't have kids. Boom, you have
yeah.
three,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Like,
exactly. And
like,
they,
like
yes, you get sometimes, the knowledge with the kids that somebody has to have a hysterectomy, but that still doesn't mean you can't be a mother. There are plenty of children that are looking for a home that for some reason don't have one.
absolutely.
It isn't just your own blood that you love, right? it is the frequency in which that you love, right? It is that energy that you give. And the more you pour into that, the more that child embraces it. And I feel that when you open up your heart to love and you share out that love all the time, it becomes a generator. It's constantly churning over more and more love for you to give away. Some people are so scared. Well, if I give all my love, what will I have left for me? No, it's like the more that you give away, the more your generator produces more love because that love just keeps
Yeah.
expanding and expanding and expanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like a never-ending
Yes,
waterfall.
yes. But I mean, I have this, what I call the core when when somebody asks me to do something or something's being presented to me, and if my core says no, I just decline nicely. That's it. I'm not going to question why. No, it's no.
Mm.
Because if I go against that no, I'm guaranteed. If my head tries to override it, guaranteed it's going to be wrong for me. And so I
Mm.
trust the no. If I haven't got the no and I'm kind of okay, I need to be inquisitive, that's okay. It's like go and explore. But if I get that definite no and I go against it, I'm going to be paying for it. Do you have that core compass that says no to you or yes?
Yeah, and I think it's and I think our body and it's like our inner knowing, right?
Mm,
I think that's probably one of the strongest psychic skills a person can develop. Like
yeah.
a lot of people on the spiritual path, they're so focused on their third eye, right? Open my
Mm,
third eye, open my third eye. But what I found for me is my inner knowing, like that voice
yes.
that will tell you when, how, where, why.
Mm,
That voice is the most solid voice because our third
absolutely.
eye can sometimes deceive us. Like there are a lot of entities and demons and
Mm,
stuff that can present themselves as angels and fairies, etc. Our hearing can be deceived sometimes as well. We don't know where we are in the matrix or in what's happening behind the
yeah.
scene. But our inner knowing,
Hmm.
nothing can shake that. Like that is so solid. And
Yeah.
I trust the guidance like solidly. I've
Yes.
learned to trust it. When
Yes.
my inner knowing says yes, there's nothing that will stop me from doing
Right.
that. And when it says no, sometimes I'll negotiate, like, but why?
Yeah.
Like, tell me more. Like, what will happen? Like, why are you saying no? But when it's a no, it's a no.
Yeah.
And sometimes my mind would want to say no to somebody because
Mm,
I personally I'm not in the mood for something.
mm.
But then I'd find my inner knowing coming out of me saying, "Of course I'll do it."
Yeah.
Also, when I know that divine timing is intervening with my mind.
Yes, it's like your mouth is moving and you're unaware of it. Something's coming out. And what did I
Yeah.
just agree to? Yes. Uh, I think, when we're willing again to surrender, when we're willing to step into that divineness and to ignite our heart, ignite our soul, tap into that beautiful divine essence that runs through us, guides us, nurtures us, shows us who we are, then everything starts to happen. There is one little issue, though. What I find, because there's no timing in the universe, right, that things will all happen at once. And all of a
Mm,
sudden, I found I produced one book, I wrote one book, and I'm in two other books, and it's all within a 3 or 4 month period. And it's
mm.
like, universe, I know you have no sense of timing. Could you pace things out a little better for me, please? But what we don't realize, because we're not behind the scenes, is the universe is synchronizing. Oh, this person, that event, this project, this, that, and I'm bringing the orchestra together. And when you start to play with each other, then you'll understand, right?
Mm.
And so it's like everything has a reason, but there is no sense of time. So if we do get everything at once or nothing at once, just trust, right? And if we get given everything
Yeah,
at once, we'll find a way.
absolutely. Like if you get everything at once, the right people will come to support you. And
Yeah.
if everything gets taken away at once,
Hmm.
I would sit in that silence. Like,
Yeah.
what am I upgrading into? Like, what am
Yes.
I learning
Yes.
through this transition?
I think going back to the fear thing, so many people are fearful of the spiritual world because you've got this constant woke, 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 and they're making, anytime you look at a show that's about spirituality, they make it into a cult and evil, right? And then,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like, no, misrepresentation, sorry. And heaven isn't necessarily above and hell isn't necessarily below. We can live in hell on earth, things that happen to
Lots
us
of
can
people
be,
are.
yes, exactly.
A lot of
But
people
heaven
are.
lies within, right? Heaven lies within. You don't have to go to church to worship your God. Your God is within you, accessible at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like God is in everything. God is in every
Yes,
cell of our bodies, is
yes,
in our heart, is in the trees, is in the ocean. Like life is God
yes.
and God is life. And that's where we come back to sacredness, right? There's a
Mm.
lot of people that disconnect from like God and life. So I'll go to church, be one with God, but then I'll go and throw plastic in the ocean. But that's also God, right? Like God is everything that is in an I am form. So you have the God energy, which is pure source, And then God creates everything, the seen, the unseen, the
Hmm.
physical, the non-physical, and everything is God. So when we walk through life, like like even that, like spiritual people, they put themselves in ceremony. I'm going
Yeah.
to go into a ceremony now. But how about your whole life is a ceremony because
Yes.
you're walking in God's world
Yes.
and you're breathing God's breath, living in God's body as God's consciousness.
And
Everything
living
is
in God's
God
purpose. We're all
and in God's
chosen.
purpose.
We're chosen. This is your purpose
Absolutely.
here on earth. I am with you. I work through you.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yeah, this is alignment. This is the
mm,
grandest
yeah.
alignment.
Yes. I mean, I say to people, well, I don't know how to open my heart because I don't think that God can come through as, or anything, any wisdom can come through as when we shut our hearts down. And we shut our hearts down because we've been hurt. And it's like, okay, lick your own wounds, love your own heart, start opening that heart out. And I've said, go for a walk in nature. Hear the wind rustling through the trees, and the trees are whispering to you. You may not understand them, but they're speaking to your soul. Right. Go along the beach and hear the children chasing a ball happily. Watch a dog running after a stick. Hear the laughter of people around you. If that doesn't open up your heart, if that doesn't warm your heart, then just repeat until it does.
Until it does. I feel like when I meet people that are very, very, very fear-based, I feel like the reason why they're fear-based is because they forgot that they too have God inside their heart.
Mm,
So they've disconnected from that God spark and they're only living as human. So then they
yeah,
become the story, and then the trauma is very real and the pain is very real, and then it holds onto the body and
yeah.
and everything. And then once we experience that, it's just going to become a cycle because whatever you feel, you're going to experience more of. So I feel like people that are in fear or in judgment, or people that are in resentment, or people that are in, there's a lot of people also that live in a world where they need to bring justice to
Yes.
whatever has happened.
Yeah.
Like I would really like recommend, like invite God into your
Yeah.
heart. Like just say it with declaration, like with authority. Like, God, I welcome you into my heart. So your heart can start welcoming, like it's as
Mm.
if the candle's there, but the light's off.
Yes.
So just turn
Yes.
on the light,
Yeah.
because all God needs, God doesn't need anything, but all God needs from your free will
Is
is
to
that
open up.
invitation,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the more you like, let's put it on a spectrum, right? So you have a spectrum of 1 to 10, one being completely fear-based, 10 being completely trust-based, right? So there's a lot of love. So the more you have trust and love, the less you're going to have fear and separation. So the more you bring in God, which is trust and love, the less you're going to experience fear and separation.
Yeah. Yes. I also want to draw a line here too that you can have and you have direct access to your God, whatever God it is, whether it's source, universe, energy, I don't care what you call it, whatever that divine essence is, you have direct channel through it. Many,
Mm-hmm.
many people have suffered through religion, the
Mm-hmm.
persecution. You've got to understand that much of religion is man interpretation. And it is absolutely proven how the Bible has been changed as an agenda, as a form of keeping you in fear. You will go to hell if you don't do this and don't do that. And that judgment. God isn't one of those people. He doesn't judge, doesn't
Can you
persecute.
imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine a mother ever sending her child to hell?
Hmm.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Even if it was the worst mother in the world, she cannot witness her child die because she did that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's a human being.
It
There
is.
is no way in the world that God is going to punish anybody and put them in whatever hell. Hell is what you make of it, because
Yes.
hell is a
We put
frequency.
ourselves in hell. Yeah, you do.
100%, 100%. And
Yeah.
religion, I feel, is designed to create more separation, because
Yes.
it's like you're monitored throughout all of life. So if you're not a good person and you're doing the good things, then God's going to punish you. And then they tell you what the good things are, right? So what happens is that fierceness, this wildness, this warrior energy that we all got to wake up, we keep it dormant because we need to be the good girl or we
Yeah.
need to be the good boy. But through our fierceness and our wildness, we awaken our authentic expression.
Yeah.
And through that authentic expression, we can join the orchestra and sing our own harmony, our
Yes,
own
yes, yes.
frequency.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, and
If
I
you
grew up,
restrict, mhm,
like, I just want to share, like, I grew up in a household, and I feel like my higher self designed it in a way that I understood this very quickly, because my father's Christian, my mother's Muslim, my aunt is my great grandma's Jewish, yeah, and my grandma is something called Durzi. My uncle is Buddhist, and we have an atheist. So I grew up with all these religions,
did they get
all these
on?
like holidays.
Did they get on, or
They,
do
my family got, like,
wow?
I mean, for me, I was spiritual since the moment I was born, but like
Right.
I grew up with all the different cultures.
Mm,
So for me, it wasn't, I never really experienced the separation of religion because it was all part of my family.
right.
But when I would step out into the world,
Yeah.
I'd realize how, like, for example, you know, like a Christian might think that a Muslim is terrorist, or a Muslim might think
Yes.
that a Christian
Yes.
is following the devil because they're not following Prophet Muhammad. Or, like, like, there's so much
I know.
separation with religion, when the truth is there's only one God. There's only one God, and its source. You want to call it the universe, I
Yes.
am, whatever,
Yes.
that's
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
But there's one creator.
Yeah. Exactly. And when we look at people pitching people against the other because of the religion, I mean, quite honestly, let's stop and count how many wars have been done in the name of God. Right? How many people have
And
suffered?
there's one happening right now, like in
Exactly.
Palestine and Israel.
Exactly. And
It's
it's like,
crazy.
clearly these people have not got God's message. In fact, I actually interviewed an Israeli, they have a name for the preacher, but and he was saying that, yes, what happened to the Israelis were horrible, but what's happening to the people in Gaza is horrible. These two wrongs don't make a right. Where is the love? Where is the heart? And I think if you come from the heart, truly come from the heart, you can't knowingly do any harm to anyone else. To do so is like a stab in your own heart.
I feel like the people, and this is my personal perspective, because I see a lot of things in the quantum field,
Mm,
but I feel the people that have the ability to carry a weapon and shoot another person, or shoot a child, or rape a
mm,
woman,
ah,
or any of that, I feel they're heavily infiltrated.
yes.
Either they're infiltrated with darker energies,
Hmm.
altering their consciousness to behave that way,
Or no
or
conscious at
they're
all.
they're oh, yeah, exactly. Removing them from their bodies
Yeah.
completely, their soul being hijacked.
Hmm.
Or, maybe they have some kind of MK Ultra
Hmm.
happening, where, they're like complete robot simulations taking
Yeah.
orders.
Humanoids, I call them.
Humanoid, yeah.
Yeah.
Because human being in its nature, it's kind
Yeah.
of like a bunny. Like, a bunny is very cute. Humans in their nature, they're very innocent. They're
Hmm.
very loving. Like the species, the human species,
Yeah.
we're not vicious. We're actually a very loving species. We are descendants of angels.
Hmm.
Our template is Oraphim, which is an angelic template. But because we've had many incarnations, we kind of like, there was a lot of like breeding and stuff. So now we're
Yes.
more humans, but our original template, like, we're angels.
Yeah.
So we have that angelic nature. It's our natural state to help each other, to support each other, to come into community, to help each other rise, to, be in that state of compassion and care and kindness towards one another. And I truly believe if somebody can murder another person, whether it's in the name of we're in war, or,
Hmm.
in the name of God, or whatever they're doing, the fact that the act is happening,
Hmm.
I don't think their consciousness is there,
No.
because it must be something very dark to do that act of darkness.
Yes, I mean, you understand if somebody kills someone in self-defense or defending a family against somebody who is dark, right? You
Yeah,
understand
that's
that they don't
yeah,
really want to, but it's their family or this person who's going to do harm to it. But there are people that sign up to do this. That,
yeah.
but I think equally behind the scenes, the people pulling the proverbial trigger are those that are wearing the uniform, whether it's religious uniform or military uniform. and that are using these
That-
people as pawns to go and do it. And really, what does it come back down to? Two words: power, money.
and
They
that's
want
the
the power
crazy
and they want the
part.
money.
Absolutely. Like that's the crazy part. Like if I open Instagram right now, everybody I know is talking about something happening on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's in Yemen or Israel or the strikes in France or the strikes in Brazil or all that. So everybody is reacting. Everybody is taking a stand. People are angry. People are furious. People are fear-based. People are like they're letting go of all this negative emotions, right? As they're taking a stance. But honestly, like in my perspective, right? If you go and follow the power and follow the money, there isn't really a war.
No.
And I know a lot of people are not going to like this because people need something to stand with and something to fight
Yeah.
against. But if you follow the money and the power, this is also orchestrated. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
and what's happening, the whole world is reacting, and then all this energy is kind of being siphoned, is being
Yes.
used.
Yes.
So
Instead of for enlightenment and growth, you know, I kind of simplify it in the way of the sunny side of the street. I'm on the sunny side of the street. I've known the darkness. I've been lost. You know, I've had all sorts of things happen, so I know what it's like to be in the darkness. But I made an effort to come back out into the light. So, you know, once I stood on that street, I could feel the shadow of the darkness follow me, and it was rather blinding in the light. And the more I trusted, the more I walked to the sunny side of the street, the more I became it. But until people step out onto that street, and they've chosen to stay in the darkness, you can't go into the darkness to pull them out. They have to be on that street in order for you to offer them a hand or sunglasses,
absolutely.
one or the other, to help them cross over, right?
Or sunblock, yeah.
But
But yeah,
there are people that have chosen to stay in that dark. They've chosen to stay in suffering. They've chosen to stay in pain, sometimes because they like playing the victim, because they want the sympathy. And sometimes they're so full of anger and revenge that they do not know how to let love in. They don't know who they would be without it, right?
exactly. It becomes an identity.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes an identity. Like a lot of people come to me and be like, "Aren't you angry with what's happening? Like you're in Lebanon and you're like I'm an Arab. Like aren't you angry with what's happening?" I was like, "Why are you so angry?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
because like on a like this is like just listen to what I'm saying with an open heart, okay? On a higher self level, the truth is there are no accidents, there are no problems, there is a divine design.
Mm-hmm.
What if, just what if all these people that are being murdered decided that they're going to come down and do this so the rest of us learn how to live in compassion? Because if we're going to sit and get angry and take sides and bitch around about what's going on, we didn't get the learning. But what if we all sit down in prayer as one
Yes.
family, as one tribe, human
Yes.
species, and open our hearts and send our brothers and sisters that are suffering love? We send them compassion. We actually send them money. We send so we actually become who we were naturally born to be, which are earth angels, right?
Yes.
Because that's the biggest learning here.
Yeah. How to love. You know, I'm a big one of white lighting, you know, white light of love and protection. And it's, I am powerless to do anything for people that are in war-torn zones or people, I mean, we have, you know, even here, the amount of homelessness and everything else that's going on,
Yeah.
the drug addiction and all of that type of stuff that's going on. There's always something. If you feel everything, it will cripple you. So it is be as much love as you can be and project that love out as
And do
far
what
as you
you can
can.
to help.
Yes, exactly.
Like
Do
do
what
what you
physically what you can
can.
to have. I mean, I'm not going to step into hate for anything, but I'm going to step into whether I condone or something or not. You know, I do believe that as humans we need to be accountable, but not accountable of torn and quartered, right? It is you need to be accountable for the suffering you have inflicted so that you
Absolutely.
understand what you are inflicting. But, you know, an eye for an eye leaves everyone blind. It is
Hmm.
instead, you know, like if you've got a drunk driver, let instead of jail, put them in the morgue, helping all those bodies that come through from drunk drivers to see their impact, right?
Hmm.
See the parents that are suffering, understand what your repercussions are, And then it's
Yeah,
your choice to what you're going to do about it, right?
I love that. You know, you reminded me of when I went to Peru. I went to Peru and I stayed there for about 3 months, and I was drinking a lot of plant medicine. And I saw something in their culture that is so beautiful. When a child does something wrong, right? They do something naughty, quote unquote. The first thing they do is they all sit around in a tribe together, and then they put the child in the middle, and they all start reminding this child of how amazing he or she is.
Hmm.
So their level of self-worth increases. So then because people behave based on how they feel. If
Hmm.
people feel good about themselves, they do good to others. If people feel like they have, self-judgment and hatred, they're going to project that
Yes.
on others too.
Yes.
So they all come together as a tribe and they put all the naughty kids in the circle and they just bring in so much love at them until it clicks to the child, oh my God, I'm worthier than this behavior.
Yeah.
The child goes and corrects his or her own
Yeah.
behavior if it can be corrected.
There was a guy
And that's
that
how we should be
I
living.
think it should be. And there was another one with a teacher. I can't remember where I heard this, but I love the story. A teacher had to mark a test, and it was two right out of
Mm,
100, right? But he put a
mm,
smiley face to it. And somebody said, well, the kid only got two right. Why are you giving them a smiley face? Because they got two right. Let's encourage that
mm.
to get four right and six right and not cripple them by saying you got 98% wrong, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing I understand, a certain amount of grading needs to be done to know where a child is and how they're learning, but it's become so pressurized. And I was born with learning disabilities that I only found out as an adult. And so, at school, they literally gave up with me because I didn't learn in the conventional manner. And I think if we can teach teachers and give them the resources they need to teach children where they're at, right? We're giving the kid the tools and the abilities to actually even search other ways of learning that isn't the mainstream. I think we've for so long just wanted to take everybody, put them in a nice little box and put them up on a shelf and say, that's where you belong. And we've got people bursting out of those boxes saying, no, I have no borders. I may have energetic boundaries, but I have no borders.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love that. And kids should be encouraged to have energetic boundaries,
Yes,
but at the same time express themselves freely. Because when we do sit on the shelf,
yes,
all looking like replicas of one another, that's when we don't experience the divinity of life.
yeah,
That's when we become human, disconnected from God.
yeah.
We want to be ourselves. We want to explore, and sometimes we want to learn, but sometimes we don't need to learn.
And sometimes
And
we learn without knowing it.
sometimes if we tune in, we kind of know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I say I
So,
don't care how many degrees a person has, how many letters behind their name or anything else, is that until you ignite your wisdom, your soul wisdom, right? How are you going to understand how to use that knowledge? That is
mm,
just knowledge, ready to be accessed, ready to have something done with it. But until you ignite the wisdom within you that attaches to the heart truth, how are you going to know how to use
I
that
love
wisdom
that.
right?
I love that. I always say, and I teach my son this, like, don't let the external world, so basically certificates,
Yes,
teacher, whoever, don't let the external world tell you what your worth is.
exactly.
Like, you got to
Exactly.
have your worth from the inside out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 100%. That's where it belongs. And we're all going to have some sort of conflict along the line. Very often we have conflict within ourselves. And it's that fight, between kind of the human expectation and the divine expectation. And sometimes we feel off kilter. But I'm a Libran, and everybody thinks that a Libran, seesaw should be just teeter-totter, should just be perfect like that and well balanced. No, it's about being able to go up and down, up and down, up and down in a nice equilibrium flow and not
Mm,
have extremes up or extreme downs, right? Again, back into the fluidity of life, riding the
yeah,
energy and the oxygen and the water and everything else. It's all about that kind of connection.
yeah, like as you're speaking, like, like we want to live a linear life. So everything happens in a specific way, the way it should happen, one thing after the other to get to a specific result. That's how the mind wants to live. But life isn't linear. Like if
No.
you look at life, like the best way to understand God or life is to look at nature. How does the ocean work? You know,
Yes.
it comes in waves, it's round, it's
Mm.
fluid. How does everything in life work? If you look at like, you know, the plants, the seasons, the trees, everything is in seasons and it cycles and cycles.
Yes.
So we can do one of two things, right? If you imagine you're in a water park, you can stand at the top of the slide and scream at all the people that work there. I need the slide to be straight so I can get to where I need to go the way I need to get it. No one's going to be able to do that for you. Or you can just jump down and enjoy the ride. It's
Hmm.
going to get scary sometimes. You're going to be like, why am I here? You're going to laugh at sometimes. You're going to be very worried that this is never going to end at one time. You're going to have peace at some time. Like it's a slide. It's going
Yes.
to bring out all your emotions. But at the end of the day, when you crash back into the water, you're going to crack up laughing and be like, my
Yeah.
God, that was fun.
Yes.
So
Let's
life
do
is
it
kind of like
again.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Let's do
think
it
think
again.
I think that's something that we've forgotten too. We've forgotten the wonderment of life, but one word that seems to have disappeared is joy. And
Mm,
people don't know how to be joyful, or they feel guilty being joyful with what is going on in the world. And it's like, we need you to be joyful. We need you to step into your loving essence. We need you to embrace all your beautiful life and everything that it is, because that raises the conscious elevation in the world. And the more
mm-hmm.
that people rise up to it, the more we change the frequency of the energy of the world, the more we become healing of all that is going on in the world.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, like the highest frequency we can live in is actually joy. Like a
Yes,
lot of people want to live in a frequency of love. But how can we? Because we are love. Like
yes,
you are love itself.
yeah,
So how you can't live in a frequency of love because you are it. But the highest frequency we can live in is actually joy.
yes.
And that's bringing love into action. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah. People say to me, who do you interview? And I said, really don't care what it is they're sharing. A
Mm,
book, this or that. It's, that's their gift to share, but they must come from the heart.
mm,
Because if it's just selling something without being heart attached, you feel it, and the words feel empty. But when somebody has found something that's heart driven, they gotta do it. They're so excited about it, you know, and that is the energy that you tap into. So I'm going to
mm.
now talk about what it is that you do. Now, you work with your husband?
Yeah, so my husband and I have so I used to have my own spiritual coaching called Elevated Vibrations, and my husband had the same. And when we met, we decided to merge them together and we created an online academy.
Mm-hmm.
And this online academy is called New Earth Masters. And we are obsessed with the work that we do because we love the community that grows and we love, the results that people get. But basically, New Earth Masters offers 14 different courses,
Mm-hmm.
each one about a different path of mastery. So you have courses that will teach you about the divine feminine, about the divine masculine, about divine unions. You have courses that teach you about psychic powers, about abundance, about your star seed, your lineage. And we have courses that teach about like dark energy and how to take care of that and how to actually heal multidimensionally. So we have like for every single person that's on the spiritual path, if they resonate with growing, there's a pathway, that will take them to where they want to go the easy way. And it's from our embodied practice. This is what I love the most about it. Is
Mm-hmm.
literally the journey that we went on to learn and anchor that frequency in our own lives.
I'm
Um,
I'm looking at some of them here, like the Love Foundation formula, the Divine Union
mm,
Academy, and then other courses that you've got here. Your certified courses. You've got the Sacred Warrior, the Oracle, again that Love Foundation, and it's important that you may start with one thing, and but then you realize that you need something else, right?
mhm,
And that's the whole part of the growth is that You've got the private mentor, the quantum healing, quantum clearing, dark clearing, which is very important, lifting up, life upgrade, relationship healing, home energy, business energy. It's all here. So wherever anybody is at, and very often people say, yes, but if you can clear this in my business, I'll be fine. Yeah, well, you could clear it in their business, but if you don't clear them, they're going to bring it all back again into their
It
business.
will
So
leak.
so
Yeah.
we people have got to understand it doesn't matter what work you do, you are your business. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to clear yourself and you have to be clear on who you are yourself in order to then be able to look at what's wrong in every other aspect of your life and how to clear that or how to rectify that. So everything starts within us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And every part of our life is kind of like a mirror reflection of our emotional state. So
Yes.
the way we feel is what we're going to experience. So that's actually true. Like people come to us and they want to clear their businesses or they want to clear their home. But when we start clearing, like the first thing we start to realize is like everything's leaking
Mm,
from their own energy.
yes.
So it has to be tackled, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, for the people listening, like if you keep going on Your Earth Masters, we have a list of freebies. And
Mm,
I absolutely love our freebie suite because honestly, that's the perfect place to start.
hmm
We have a freebie for almost, you know, almost every single like the way we designed it is we have thousands of students, but we started like breaking down like what do people come to us for? And we realized that people come to us mainly for four things.
hmm
The first thing is about their feminine and their masculine. Like women come to me to help them with their femininity, and they come to my husband, the men, to help them rise into their masculinity. But then the spiritual crowd, they come to us specifically for two things. One of them is to help them deal with dark energy. And number two is to help them embody their divinity. So those are like even though we teach about psychic powers and when we're very psychic and abundance and all that, that's like part of it, right?
hmm
So the freebies have that. So if you want to get a taste of like what
Yeah.
it is that we do and how you can benefit from, the medicine that we share with the world, that would be the perfect place to start.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so much here that you offer, galactic DNA activation, meditation, switch on your wealth vibration, life-changing, life mastery. I mean, you've got so much here to offer with. And for people that they're being awakened, but they're not quite sure what they're awaking to. This is the thing is that the connection has been switched on, ignited, but it's like, what do I do with this? And this is where you need other people that have stepped forth before you and that devise these programs. They're to help you expand that connection, for it to go deeper, for you to actually then understand what your role is, and then how to ignite that into purpose. And we all need help. The best teachers are those that have gone through it. They've created
100%.
things because of what they've gone through. They're trying to prevent you from going what I through the Grand Canyon. You're all going to have potholes, right? And this is how to weather the potholes, but to avoid the Grand Canyon. So it's reach out. That's the whole point. Reach out and let people help you.
And we're all in this together. Like
Yeah.
like we're all on the same boat and we're all helping each other. And we teach a lot of people, but then these people teach a lot of people, and then those
Yes.
people teach a lot of people.
Ripple,
And
ripple,
that's
ripple. Yeah. I love
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And you've got to understand negative energy ripples out just as much, and going back to the water in our body, we're 70% water. And if you're in negative or pain or venge or hate, that water changes in your body and it stops being nutritious to help your organs. And this is why we get dis-ease and disease and your body breaking down because it's not being fed. But when you feed it with love and wonderment and caring and consideration and compassion and kindness, you are going to see that water change, almost crystallize. And each one of those crystals is a divine energy there to fortify you. Everything
Mhm.
is a choice in life. But if you don't
I
want to
love
live in
that.
pain anymore, if you don't want to live in this hate or this disconnect or anything anymore, you're just tired of repeating the same old thing and getting the same old results, then this is the time out of free will. You step forth and say, please help me.
I love that. When I first became a healer was like, gosh, when I was 24, I started taking my first sessions. I would go out and tell everybody about how they need to change their life because how much it changed
Yes,
my life,
yes.
right? But then I realized that actually I am robbing these people from the biggest blessing of them saying,
Mm.
I want to change.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that's beautiful because when people say, I want to change, that's really when they get the
Yeah,
change.
exactly. I say that first leap is the first step,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? And that step
Love
to say, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm putting my foot forward. I always say you need to be blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel.
that. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's all
Absolutely.
about that, taking that leap of faith, right?
100%. And choosing yourself. Like I always say, like
Yes.
when you choose yourself, you will always win at life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to choose yourself because, I always go back to the divine design because it's so funny. At the end of the day, in reality, like this is absolute truth. No one exists but you, right?
Exactly.
Everybody is your creation.
Yeah.
So a lot of people hold them like it's such an interesting world because like I am your creation and you are my creation. And right now we are co-creating this
Right.
podcast, right?
Yes.
So in the world, a lot of people stop themselves from
Mm-hmm.
becoming who they are naturally and who were they born to be so they can meet the expectation of somebody they created.
Yeah.
But how about you start becoming the star of your own show?
Yes.
Choose yourself.
We all get given a vision, whether it's you hear it or you see it or you feel it, you get given a vision of the path that you're meant to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that willingness to take it. It's that willingness to explore. It's that willingness to discover. As I said, I used to be the hare. I had a vision. I wanted to rush ahead. Let's get it done. I see it. Come on, come on, come on. And then we never made the finish line because other people didn't get it because I didn't articulate it deep enough because I wasn't experiencing the journey. I was rushing to the
Mm,
end. Now I'm the
mm.
tortoise. I love being the tortoise. I am gathering people all along the way. And what I'm doing is igniting that enthusiasm and that love and that passion and let us walk. They all may go off in their own direction, but we're all better off from meeting each other because we
Yeah, and
carry
that
each other's energy, right?
yeah. And as you're speaking, like what I'm feeling is that like, really like that's how we want to be, right? We want to flow with what
Yeah.
comes our way.
Yes.
Sometimes when we're fighting against the current, we're gonna get drained, we're gonna get tired. But if
Yes.
we flow with life, yeah, I love that you're doing that.
Well, you're doing it too. We've been given a gift. I started mine at 57. Never too late, folks, right? I'm 69, going to be doing it until I can't hear or speak anymore. So, and the thing is, everything that I went through in life prepared me for this now, right?
Yeah, that's how it is.
And that's how it is. And, there's been those times of like, why, what? I feel nothing. If I can't be of purpose, take me away. Right. And,
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be in purpose. And, you do one thing after they think it's it and it isn't. And then even when this was presented, I didn't even know what it was. And then,
Mm-hmm.
here I am now 12 years later. And it's the most exciting thing I've done because every time you watch the news and it's all doom and gloom and about the world coming to an end, and then you do an interview like this, and there's another beautiful soul in the world that's igniting heart and souls for us to all elevate. And I feel the shift is already here. We already have more people that are elevating than those that are not. But that's why we're seeing so much discord, is because they know people are separated from them and that if they want to elevate, they're going to have to step up. And for some of them, it's already too late. The bridge is broken, right? It's broken away for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that. Like there's always two sides to every
Yeah,
coin.
yeah.
There's always two sides. And one side is an Armageddon, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
world is coming to an end. And it is somehow because it has to end for a new world to be rebirthed.
Yes.
But then
We
there's the
don't
other
have to
side of the
completely destroy it to have a new birth, folks.
exactly.
The new birth
So
is the consciousness. We don't have to obliterate the world.
yeah, I'm not talking physically here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Or
then you
enough.
have the other side of the
Yeah.
coin, which is the ascension,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
people have the choice. Am I going to experience an Armageddon or am I
Yeah.
going to experience ascension?
And people say, but what does it feel like? And I say it's just a beautiful deep breath and exhale. And you almost feel nothing and everything, right? But it's such calmness, it's such peace. And in it becomes such clarity. And you don't fight with the vision. You don't fight with the message. You don't fight with, why should I do that, this, that? No, you just, ah, okay, I'll go with
Hmm.
that. I'll go with that. And then you may find something you go with comes to a stop. That doesn't mean it's come to an end. It's pausing, waiting for the next synchronicity to happen, for the next phase to happen. And if we're living in that presence and we're living in that essence, we don't fret the stuff. As I said, the ball's up in the air, waiting. Right? I've got another book coming out. It's waiting now until I move. But the house ball has dropped. It's been up there for a year, but now it's dropped. So now I can start planning the next thing, and I have to wait for the universe to give it to me when the time is right. And trust it will not only be the time right, it'll be the people right. It'll be the purpose right. Right? And just be ready for it.
I love the amount of faith that you carry. And that is such a beautiful trait to have. Like when you're speaking, I'm like watching you and your energy and your eyes. And there's such a beautiful amount of faith. And I'm sure, you weren't born with this faith. Like you had to experience a lot to, like the universe molds us, right? Like we go
Yeah.
through things. The universe kind of like we have like an ego death over
Yes.
and over and over
Yeah.
until we decide, all right, my soul is going to live now and I'm going to live in absolute faith. And that's beautiful. So I just want to let you know that I acknowledge that and I
Thank you.
respect your journey.
It is for all of the things that we lost that we discover our gain, right?
Mm,
And it's for all of the things that hurt us that we discover our love. And it is, it's the willingness to go through the process. You cannot
mhm.
get to where we are now without going through the process. And
Yeah.
I've had interviewed people with some of the most horrific stories that no human being ever should have gone through, ever. And yet
Mm,
who they are today, who they've chosen to be today because they were willing to go through the process, their forgiveness, the letting go, the learning to love themselves and not be the victim, stepping into meaningful purpose, wanting to help other people. Their light just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, despite because they chose. I am not
so
giving into the darkness.
important.
I choose to follow the light.
That's so important. Like it is, at the end of the
Mhm.
day, it is just a choice.
It is.
Like, you can have parents that are so dysfunctional, alcoholics, drug addicts, whatever you wanted, and they have two kids.
Hmm.
Is an example, right? But it's people I know that I'm creating a story about right now. One of them can make the choice
Hmm.
to heal, to elevate, to choose themselves that they want to win at life, and they actually start to have a story that
Yes.
can inspire thousands of people.
Yes.
The other sibling can live in the victimhood
Hmm.
mentality that they never had a chance and
Hmm.
they've doomed themselves before they even looked at the light at the end of the tunnel. So everything comes back down to the choices we
It
make. I
does.
always
Yes.
say,
Yeah.
like the choices we make and the actions that we take
Hmm.
are probably the most important thing in our embodiment.
Absolutely. And which way are we going to look? Are we going to look at the dark side of the street or the sunny side? Yeah, you're
Mhm.
walking down that street. Which one are you going to feed? Well, for me, that sunny side looks a lot more joyous. So, is it going to take a little effort to get there? Yeah. But God, is it worth it? Wow, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we're still not going to have challenges, right? Yes, I've got this house, but now I've got to pack up and actually move. But it's worth it. It's just like if you have a rough pregnancy and you have a baby, it's worth it, right? But please
Yeah.
don't forget when you have decided to make that choice and to feed and fortify and step into love for yourself, it's like a pregnancy. And you're going to have the morning sickness, you're going to have the backache, you're going to have this and that along the way. But then when you give birth to yourself and you are this new person of your own divine and your choice, it is something that every single step of the way was worth it.
Yeah, and when like there's so many people that are going through a rebirth right now,
Yeah, yeah,
and just allow yourself to just let it all fall
yes,
apart. Let yourself
yes,
go through the hard parts. That's when you become in your mastery. That's when you rise. That's like the phoenix
yes,
that rises from the
yes.
ashes.
And we're all capable
Absolutely.
of being that phoenix. That's the thing. And it's we've got to understand like the cellular of our body, our cellular, the trillions and trillions of cells in our body. And, when we get cancers, when those cells break down, well, when we get disheartened or feel in pain or feel the world is against us, that emotional cellular structure is broken down. But when we feed those cells love and possibilities and nurturing, they plump back up again. And then you step it back into full production. So we've got to understand people are here like yourself. My hand is here when you're ready. I've got all of these courses. Even some of them are free, even if money is an issue. Some of them are free. When you're ready to pay for them, we're here for you. But take opportunity of the free ones. Start the
Yeah,
process.
and we even have that for our sessions. Like we have a fixed price for our healing sessions. We have gone through hell and back to learn the skills that we have. And
Mm,
we do have a child and we have expenses. So obviously,
yes,
we want our sessions to be paid for because this is how we live and this is how
yes,
we can give back even more. But we
exactly.
even have on our website, like there's a big disclaimer with every session. Like if you truly need this healing
Mm,
session, and you cannot afford the price that we have, we will still accommodate you.
right.
And we trust that people are honest,
Yeah.
right?
I do that.
Um,
I do that with donations. I get shat on all the time by other people. Sorry, you need to charge a fixed price. And I said, look, this knowledge is going out freely and people will pay for the podcast. And I have a start at $35 if they can afford it. If they can't, or if they don't wish to pay it, then I can't force them. It has to be free will. But like you, cover the expenses, right? But if people say to me, I can't afford that, then they've got something to share that is so worthwhile for others to listen to, some nuggets that are absolutely essential for people to listen to. I'm not going to let money get in the way.
yeah. And money will always find its way back into people's lives.
Yeah.
There is nothing to spend. It's actually it's a cycle of giving and receiving.
Yes, exactly. And it may not come out like in cash form, it'll come out in the form of your kids buying you a house, right?
Yeah, yeah. Abundance can happen in so many ways.
Exactly, exactly.
Congratulations once again on that
Oh
house.
yeah, no, this has been a long time in coming. Yes, I haven't had a home. I live with a wonderful 90-year-old. She's absolutely amazing, but this was meant to be temporary. And
Mm.
then COVID happened and everything else. And so now, yes, but biggest thing is I'm near my babies. So I can
Yeah, that's
actually see
beautiful.
my
And
grandkids grow up, in front of me rather than me driving back and forth all the time. And
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
And
You
thank
know,
you
um, Oh no, I mean, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do and everything else. And but I want people to know, how do they get hold of you? Um, you've got all these wonderful services. Yes, they could start with the freebies, but can they also just reach out to you and say, I don't know what I need. Can you guide me to your programs? You have that as well?
Yeah, like people can go to newearthmasters.com or they can go to New Earth Masters on Instagram.
Hmm.
And if you go to our website, you will find a part on the homepage where it's like, if you need guidance, click this button. And that button actually takes you to our WhatsApp. And we can have a WhatsApp conversation. And I love that approach because I get to know the
Mm.
people that are taking our courses or buying our sessions before they actually make a choice.
Hmm.
And we develop that bond, and then I'm more hands-on with the support
Yes,
of the sessions and the courses.
right. And you've also got the Divine Union-Academy.com as well.
So the Divine Unit Academy, we've shifted it into New Earth Masters. It used to be independent on its own, but now we've kind of like merged it into one
All
platform.
right. So just go
Yeah.
to New Earth uh, and
Newearthmasters.com.
everything will be found there. And yes, I mean, looking at your site, you've got so much to offer there. And we want your soul is saying, come on, wake up, wake up, wake up. Come on, let's ignite the heart. Let's get into the spirit. I want to show you your path. And it's eager to do that. But if we've got that human condition that's in the way, blocking it and going, so what if instead of what if, then we need the help to break that down. And so we can open up and step into the beautiful essence that we are. And you've certainly got so many programs there. If you've got a couple that wants to do it together, right? It's
Absolutely.
maybe being
And
married for a while, had a few kids, and now it's like, how do we reignite ourselves? But we've disconnected. How do we reconnect? And all of that is important.
And listen, like everybody owes it to themselves to
Yeah.
give themselves the best. Because if
Yes.
we don't give ourselves the best, no one else is going to do it for us. So
No.
if we're in any type of world that is complaining, or a world that is not up to our standards or what we desire to experience, like you are the only person that can make that change.
Exactly.
When sometimes when I see people like living in that fear, like what if I don't like the change? What if the change is hard? What if the change, maybe I'll find out how broken I really am and I don't want to face myself in the mirror. Like what I tell people is this, it's like, listen, like commit to something for a month.
Hmm.
If you like what's happening, continue. If
Yes.
you don't, you still have the option to go back to the life that you've lived for
Yeah.
30 years, 20 years, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
Dip your
always,
toes in the water, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's the thing is that first step again. That's why it's called the biggest leap. Because that once you've taken that first step, I've taken it. God, I'm still standing. I can take another one. I can take another one. But
And
it's
and
that
and
choice to make that first one.
yeah, and taking that step, honestly, is probably the best thing any
Mm.
person can do, because healing and loving yourself and knowing your self-worth and having self-respect and remembering God and changing your perception of the world from one that is in lack to one of abundance, to one that where there's illness, to one that has a lot of health, to one where there's everybody's a victim and
Yeah.
judgment, to one where we are all one and these are my brothers and sisters on the planet. Like shifting that perspective, it's like eating, it's like having a gourmet life. It's
Right.
like giving you the most refined version
Yes.
of what you can experience. So why
And
not give yourself the best?
exactly. And I just want to go back to that orchestra analogy. You join an orchestra that you're in symbiotic with, right? And you're going to create that kind of music. But that doesn't mean there's only one orchestra. There are many
Mm,
orchestras, and just because you don't like what the music is playing in that other orchestra or that other band doesn't mean it's bad or it's out to get you. It's all about preference. It's all about what we connect to. We can have millions of orchestras, and they're going to serve who hears them at that level. So don't
yeah.
decide because, oh, I don't like that. Ugh, it's disgusting. No, you have a preference that you don't like that. Somebody else does, right? So it's
Mhm,
not
mhm.
good or bad. Just remember your choice is this. Their choice is that. Respect the choice.
Yeah, it's like if you go to a clothes store, not everybody's going to buy the same dress. You have a preference, you have your own taste. Your soul will resonate
Yeah.
with the right person for you,
You
and
don't want
trust
to see me in skinny jeans, believe me, not with my butt. So, it's know thyself and thy
Mm-hmm.
connection, but you've got to be willing to take the journey to know thyself. And that journey is, it's there ready for you at newearthmasters.com. Reach out, try it, maybe a free one, and say, oh, I really like where this is going. I'm now going to reach out to them and have a chat about where I need to go next. They have so many programs there for wherever you're at. But the whole
And
point is
we
please take the leap, please.
and we would love to meet you, to get to know you, and welcome you into the community as well. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Sarah, for this
Okay.
amazing chat. I feel like we were catalyzing each other back and forth, which is
Yes.
wonderful. It's amazing energy. I really appreciate you, and I
Um,
appreciate the time that we spent together
right
today.
back at you, right from hearing you discuss before, and I know I I hear you, and of course it didn't happen the one time around. It was a screw up, and so it always happens at the right time, even when things happen, and you think, oh, should I or should I? Is that a warning? Sometimes just go with the flow, go with the gut, right?
Yeah.
Trust the divine wisdom. It will always lead you right, even if you don't understand it in the moment. The
Yeah.
clarity of why will happen later. How many things do you do? Like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but later on, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the theme of my life.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly. Me too. It's always that hindsight. Okay, I got it. All right. But you just trust, trust, trust. To get to that place of trust, you have to get to that place of inner peace and love. And then you trust that love and you trust that loving energy, and it will always lead you to where you need to be. The universe has got you, folks. Just let it in, right?
100%.
Thank
100%.
you. Thank you, Nada. This is beautiful. And the work that you're doing for you and your husband. I'm so glad you're following this path. So many people need it. And it really doesn't matter their age or where they're at or what anything is happening. They can reach out to you and start the process. Just start the
100%.
process, folks. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.